Ladies and gentlemen, this is very interesting, and I'm just going to read you a Sun article right here. On the list, Kyle Rittenhouse vows to sue Whoopi Goldberg and Young Turks founder Cenk Uygur for calling the teen a... Okay, so apparently a legal term, especially when he is fighting for his survival in court. So I'm not going to use the word just because of the YouTube algorithm. You can go ahead. It's a false claim, and it's essentially legal analysis. Not just legal analysis. It's defamatory, libelous, depending on how it would be used, especially when he is in a court of law fighting for his legal survival and life. By the way, bad news. Thank you so very much for the super thanks. So kind of you last segment. And Janet, thank you so much as always for your kind words and your support always. And everyone, thanks so much for the kind words on my last segment. Now, this is very interesting to me because not long ago, let's just say that network went after me in a very interesting manner. And so, I'm not a huge fan, but this is really, really, really interesting. Kyle Rittenhouse vows to sue Whoopi Goldberg and Young Turks founder Cenk Uygur. The 19-year-old and his team are launching the Media Accountability Project as a tool to help fundraise and hold media accountable for their lies by bringing legal action against certain news organizations. Now, the inability to understand what took place in the Rittenhouse trial is the following. He did not provoke anything. That's why he was found innocent. He did not provoke. Simply, and Cenk Uygur, for example, one of his many brilliant tweets, he wrote, and the thing is, it's pretty unbelievable the lack of understanding of what actually happened that fateful evening. But Cenk Uygur wrote, "For all the Kyle Rittenhouse supporters, this is November 11, 2021. I assume you're cool with," and then he talks about different left-leaning militants coming to every conservative, let's say, protest heavily armed. Yes, I am a former progressive, lifelong Democrat who had embraced the Second Amendment and now owns firearms because the police basically told me to after I got a threat on my life on Twitter. And I understand the importance of the Second Amendment. Absolutely. I can tell you right, the inability to understand the opposing side by Mr. Uygur is profound. So I assume you're okay with militants coming to every conservative protest heavily armed. Yes! Absolutely, because that's simply if you're doing it in a legal manner, there's no problem with that. And then if one of you provokes them, that's the thing. He never provoked anyone. Well, self-defense and all that. Well, yeah. Yes, and all that. Yes, that's true. I'm against it, but are you guys cool with that? And of course, he gets 5,000 likes. And so the thing is, these are just one of the takes that he gave. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I know there's a lot of things going on. The market is tanking like I said it would. Like I predicted in my Federalist article in October of 2021. Read that article below. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I will have a live stream tonight, this evening at around 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. Pacific, maybe around 7 p.m. Pacific, but be here. And hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below. But very interesting. So you get these superficial takes that are written on social media. So I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I don't need to engage in these absurd ideological battles. Like this man is the same man who ignores that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Okay. Promoted the Trump-Russia myth, which we know now is completely false. Stated that Clinton was going to absolutely win when I was saying that Clinton would lose. NPR quoted me. You can look at that quote on hagoodman.com. NPR didn't quote anyone at the Young Turks or anywhere else. Because the entire establishment said Clinton would win in a landslide. I was saying that she, in 2016, was unelectable. Now I'm saying she should run again. She should run again. She could possibly win. Of course, I would vote for Trump 1,000,000 out of 1,000,000 times over Clinton or Biden. And we're seeing so we had record low unemployment under President Trump, record low Black and Latino unemployment. We had a president in Trump that allocated more funding to historically Black colleges and universities than any president ever, signed the Doha Agreement to reverse U.S. foreign policy that was unfortunately pushed by Biden and Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld, all the Lincoln Project people, in addition to Democrats like Clinton and Kerry and Biden. So mashed potato brains, our president, is on the wrong side of history. You can go back more than 20 years, but 20 years ago with Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, then with a failed NATO intervention that destroyed Libya. And we can see that he helped promote, all of these people helped promote a myth that said Trump was working with Russia, engaged in Senator Joseph McCarthy Red Scare tactics, and they're still doing it right now. Because Clapper and Brennan had a high to moderate confidence assessment. There wasn't a shred of evidence ever that Trump was colluding with Russia. But again, it's called Millennial CNN. So Kyle Rittenhouse wants to sue Millennial CNN. And it's not just one Millennial CNN. There's a whole bunch. They promote just the same talking points. The sky is falling. Rittenhouse did this and that, and yet he didn't. And here's the thing. If Rittenhouse was a left-leaning protester, they would then just, because they're basically programmed to, just defend him. It's not about value system, which is why when Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard are accused of having something to do, either working with Russia or benefiting from Russia's help, they then push back. Sometimes they push back. With Tulsi Gabbard, I don't even know if they defended her. But with Trump, he's a Russian operative. So they will use lies to further their ideological viewpoint, or they'll use a distorted view of history or recent history. They'll ignore Hunter's laptop, or they'll touch it, talk about it somewhat. And then they'll focus on Trump's tax returns, which, by the way, nobody's found anything on. They've had Trump's tax returns. Then they're trying to get Trump in New York on inflating his real estate. It's like New York real estate is, along with Tokyo, the most expensive real estate in the world. So how you can inflate that, there's always going to be a dollar amount that's astronomical that you could then say, okay, this hotel is worth this, or inflating. And Deutsche Bank never found a problem with Trump's with how he valued his properties. So good luck on that. Good luck on that in New York. But anyway, apparently he's going after Cenk Uygur and Whoopi Goldberg. Not just Uygur, also Whoopi Goldberg, because they made legal libelous or defamatory statements. Whether they made written or statements on television or on YouTube, apparently what Kyle Rittenhouse is doing is he's saying, okay, they're not just giving their opinion, and they're not just giving their analysis or viewpoint, and they're not just expressing their First Amendment rights. They're making legal claims that are categorically not true. And so Nicholas Sandman won a lawsuit, numerous lawsuits under the same premise. A little bit different, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. What Rittenhouse should absolutely do that, because, again, liberal Democrats are so clueless when it comes to the Second Amendment. They think that laws prevent or keep people safe from firearms. What they don't get is that you'll have a person like Alec Baldwin who will end someone's life and not abide by any protocol, and they won't even touch the story, or in Democratic-run cities with strict laws where on an average weekend or month, chaos and mayhem and tragedy takes place with endless examples of criminals who don't abide by the laws. So the interesting thing about the Whoopi Goldberg mentality, or the liberal Democrat mentality, or the $20 million venture capital people mentality is the following. What'll happen is they will not understand a concept called free will. The concept called free will they won't understand. And they won't get that. They won't get that laws and government cannot regulate people's behaviors at all times, especially when you have the Second Amendment that's there to protect people. Kyle Rittenhouse was found innocent, not guilty, because he was not instigating anything, and he was being attacked, and he did defend himself. These are concepts that the left couldn't understand after $1 to $2 billion in property damage, and I don't remember seeing anyone at the Young Turks protest all throughout that summer. But you better believe they made a great deal. You better believe they did endless segments and judged and condemned and pontificated about the tragedy. And I do believe George Floyd was murdered. And yes, I'm voting for Trump again, and I did vote for Trump. And I was a lifelong Democrat. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. They weren't, I was. The unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. And Bernie Sanders unendorsed this man because of his writing. So Bernie Sanders canceled him years before Kyle Rittenhouse is going to sue him and Whoopi Goldberg. We'll see. I don't think you can make defamatory or libelous statements during an ongoing lawsuit. That's tricky right there. So laws might have been broken, and they were a certain type of discrimination lawsuit they dealt with. I mean, you're talking about the epitome of hypocrites. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right this second. I'll be back for the live stream tonight at around 7 p.m. Thank you so very much.